G'day guys and gals and welcome back to another episode of Daily Eclectic Gaming. Now today is going to be a little different from other days in that I don't have a game to show you. Instead, I've decided to upload a series of 5 episodes covering the now 250 immersive, flavorful survival mods I have installed on Fallout 4 currently. And, might I add, all working in perfect harmony, as far as I've tested. So, for the sake of mine and everyone else's sanity, I've broken these mods down into the sections of the game they modify. The major categories and hence episode themes are going to be visual and audio mods, weapons, armor and companion mods, Commonwealth enrichment mods, bringing more life to the Wastelands, settlement mods, these bad boys get an episode all their own, and lastly, gameplay enhancement and user interface mods. Now, as each episode is set to cover roughly 50 mods each, I won't be going into that much detail, or we would be here all damn day. These episodes are for anyone watching my Fallout 4 series and has one of those "which mod is that again?" moments. If you haven't checked the series out yet, open the card at the top right of your window and save it for later, and while you're doing that, we'll just sit here in awkward silence. Dogs are pretty neat. Now, enough of that, let's get into the visual and audio mods. Subcategories for this episode and the timestamps to where you can jump to should be on screen now. So, if you're looking for a particular mod, you can head there now. If not, pull up a chair, get comfy, because here we go. The first animation mod for this episode is Lowered Weapons by Lesma666. Not much to say about this mod, it does exactly as the title says, and during times of peace and calm, your character will lower his weapon so as not to obstruct your view. Your mileage may vary depending on the weapons you use, as the larger weapons still tend to take up a decent amount of screen space. However, it's far better than it was, and if you're looking for that immersive feel of talking to people without shoving your gun down their throat, then this is the mod for you. Now, if you've downloaded Lowered Weapons but are sad that the DLC weapons aren't included, you want Lowered Weapons DLC Add-on by Alex Bull UK. This mod does, again, just as the title explains, and does what the Lowered Weapons mod does for the vanilla game, and adds support for Automatron, Far Harbor, and Nuka World to lower the weapons collected in those DLC. Do you want to squeeze every bit of immersion you can out of this game? Then Steve 40's got your back with swinging animated meat bags. Yep. That's basically all it does. Now, if you thought we were done with Power Armor, think again. Power Armor animation changes by Somber X makes any Power Armor character an absolute joy to play. So what this mod does is has a couple of settings. You can either enter and exit the Power Armor quickly, or even instantly, removing the animation entirely. It is perfect for the Power Armor user. Now, what better way to bring a game from 2015 into 2018, but with some 2 and 4K textures. First up, we have the 4K Distressed Ripper texture by Carnage Fiend. Now, as most of these following mods are going to be visual updates, I'm going to shut my trap, put on some elevator music, and let you guys enjoy. Alcohol and Tobacco Overhaul by True Dragonborn. Better Computer Terminals by Jomla97. Chem Redux by HerpDerp2332. Enhanced Blood Textures by D-Definder1. Eyewear and Mask Retexture by Castell. Flare Gun Ammo Retexture Fixes by Dinoman. High Resolution Texture Packs by Valius. Immersive Mouth and Teeth by Clearance Clarence. Jester's Better Ammo All-in-One by Jester. Also by Jester, Jester's Better Destroyed Vehicles. More realistic pipe weapon textures by Alex Slesh. Radio Model Replacer by Quaz30. Next up we have HQ Bathroom Stalls by Lucid APS. And Realistic Pool Balls HD by MM137. Scratch Made New Combat Shotgun and Rifle Textures by Millennia. And additional work by Millennia, Scratch Made New Double Barrel Shotgun Textures. Street Signs Retexture by Worried Walrus. Wasteland Salon Hair Texture Improvement Mod by Limo. Now, these next three mods affect creatures in the game, so if you're planning on downloading a combination of any of these, ensure you check what creatures you are installing as they might override one another. First up, we have Decay Better Ghouls by Thumblestein. And now by Stabcops, Wasteland Creatures Redone Retexture Compilation. Now we don't have time to show off every retexture he has. If you want to see the full list, head over to the Nexus mod, link is in the description. And next by Zazom, we have Crows and Creatures. Now, this mod does have a fair bit of crossover with Wasteland Creatures Redone, so if you install both mods, make sure you're not selecting the same creature from both, or you may not get the texture you thought you installed. Once again, this is only a taste of the retextures by this mod. For a full list, head over to the Nexus and look for Crows and Creatures. Link will be in the description. And now we're looking at mods that affect the environment of Fallout 4. To continue this beautification project, we have Grasslands, a Fallout 4 grass overhaul by Doodlezoid. And what good is that lush grass if the distant grass still looks brown and dead? We have Grassy LODs by Frog Princess Q4. This mod changes distant grass textures to make them that little bit more green. There are a few options. The one on screen is showcasing summer. Now that we have greener grasses, let's bring some life back to those trees. After all, it's been 200 years since the bomb dropped. We have Springtime Trees by Forever a Sir. Not only retexturing a handful of the trees in the game as birch, it also grows some trees taller and puts green leaves on most trees in the wastelands. What point is having beautiful trees up close if the distant trees still look dead? Here we have Tree LODs and Bonus Apple Blossom by Frog Princess Q4. This mod does for trees what Grassy LOD does for grasses. It makes the distant trees look like they have leaves on them. Not many, but enough to get by. And as for the Bonus Apple Blossoms in the title, it's an optional download if you want to have cherry blossoms in your Boston. To make sure we cover faraway textures that weren't touched with previous mods, we have Faraway Area Reform by Sparrow Prince. This mod optimizes and improves over 6,000 different land textures, meaning better performance, a more stutter-free experience, and a better looking Fallout. Now, upgrading the environment, but not to make it look better, we have Progman X's Deadly Fog. This mod affects the fog floating around Far Harbor to turn it into the radioactive threat that everyone claims it to be. Now to touch some textures we haven't modded yet, we have Hein84 with Vivid Fallout Landscapes, affecting most landscape textures in the game. Shown here is only a handful of the textures this mod actually affects. For a full list, you know what to do, link is in the description. And also by Hein84, Vivid Fallout Roads and Bridges. And comparison pictures for this mod speak for themselves. Now, these next two mods are what really make Fallout 4 pop. We have NAC, Natural and Atmospheric Commonwealth by Lu Ping, and Improved and Expanded Everything 2, Beyond Quality and Immersion by Roxorus. These two mods in unison, one actually being a requirement of the other, is what gives Fallout 4 the beautiful atmosphere and immersion we could only dream of back in 2015. Natural and Atmospheric Commonwealth by Lu Ping does a myriad of things, and no short order is changing the entire weather system of the game. Whilst being almost entirely modular from the Pipboy in-game, NAC has more than 70 different natural and atmospheric weather templates, including rad storms of different effects on the player and the surroundings. All of these weathers are based on true-to-life color and lighting, and all have different colors, lighting, clouds, post-processing, and properties. This, in unison with time of day, weather chances, transitions, and validity, leaves us with more than 5,000 random weather variations to be experienced in-game, so that the weather will never be quite the same. Now this mod is a big one because it also affects your night times, making them longer and making them darker. Editable within game to make it a little brighter or a little shorter, the final choice is up to you. This mod also increases advanced lighting for the weather systems, better AI detection during storms, new and redone particle effects in clouds, sounds, and post-processing effects. All interior location lighting has been redone on a case-by-case basis, and even the radiation system has been touched, allowing you to take shelter with their new shelter feature. This mod boasts no FPS loss, is lightweight, and has a myriad of options including radioactive rain and trippy visual effects when your character is on drugs. All editable in-game from the Pipboy. If you're looking to combine NAC weathers, climates, seasons, and lighting features with another weather mod, then look no further, because NAC Hybrid allows you to do just that. On top of everything mentioned here, NAC additionally has a seasons system, where it'll cycle through the snowy and colder winters, the rainy and cloudy springs, the sunny summers, and the foggy falls, loaded in real time or to a timescale of your liking. And in case you don't intend to use an ENB, NAC comes with its own, making the game that little bit nicer without having to find other mods. And though currently a work in process, I've included it in my Fallout purely because of how good it is. Natural and Atmospheric Interiors is a continuation of Natural and Atmospheric Commonwealth. It does to the interiors what NAC does to the exteriors. And as mentioned before, building off of NAC, we have Improved and Expanded Everything 2, Beyond Quality and Immersion by Roxorus. While NAC affected weathers, seasons, nights, and more, Improved and Expanded Everything 2 is a pure shading overhaul ENB with filmic features. To quote the author, it has more graphic fidelity than 20 reshade presets stacked on each other, improved shaders, improved shading, the look and feel of film, the sharpness of reality, the warmth of being wrapped up tightly on a winter day. All this and more. But instead of talking about it, I'll just let the mod do the talking. Now we move over into lighting, but first, to go with the darker nights from the previous mod, we have Wasteland Nights, Moon and Stars Retexture by Captain Joker 71. This mod has options to increase or decrease the level of stars in the sky, and to change the texture of the moon, or even break it in two. A lot can happen in 200 years. But the first real lighting mod on this list is Interiors Enhanced, Darker Ambient Light and Fog by Fading Signal. Now this mod is not a post-process filter or any kind of contrast adjustment. This mod individually affects every single interior cell of the game, all 282 of them, to reduce the amount of ambient light and fog. Now, no lighting sources have been touched, so what this means is our lights should look brighter and our shadows should look darker, increasing that contrast and making things just look better. Now, we've gone a long way to make this game darker and darker, so how about we give that Pipboy Light some love? Pipboy Flashlight by Excelsior does just that. By turning the eminent radiance of the Pipboy Light into a more functional flashlight, Fallout 4 really starts to feel like an immersive wander through the wastelands. With your choice of well over 50 lighting decals, this mod has something for you. Now we've had plenty of mods to make the game darker, but how about we light things up again where they should be, right around the light bulbs. So we have Workshop Lighting Overhaul by Reticue7. Now as this one simple comparison picture shows you, every single light in the game has been increased. The radius has been increased, the drop-off has been increased, and believe me, this makes streetlights feel like streetlights, and this makes lights at night feel like a light at night. However, with all these bright lights and dark nights, you would think staring into a light would do a little bit more to blind you. ENB Lights Overhaul by MaxG3D does just that. Whilst not exactly blinding you, this does add a beautiful bloom effect to all of the lighting in the game, bringing out that realism and pushing it up to 11. Now, with all these lighting increases, you may start to think the shadows in the game are lacking. So, that's where More Shadows by Reticue comes in, adding volumetrical lighting to most light sources in the game. This mod pushes realism to the next level. However, expect performance issues unless you have extremely high-end software, as we all know Fallout 4 is not beautifully optimized. So, when you're in a city or around a settlement full of people where shadows are being cast every which way, watch out. However, should you be experiencing FPS drops but don't want to drop your shadows, FPS Dynamic Shadows Shadow Boost by Alexander Blade is the mod we have been asking for. What this mod does is dynamically adjust shadow detail and viewing distance as the FPS changes. If you tell the mod that you want to keep an FPS of 60, it will adjust the shadows on the fly to make sure that your gaming experience stays at 60 FPS. And when your FPS starts going above your preset level, the mod automatically readjusts the shadows to make the game look prettier whilst maintaining that FPS that you have set it to. Probably not a lighting mod, but a visual and graphics mod nonetheless. Realistic World Maps version 2.2 by Vastias increases the map in the game to make it just beautiful. Adds in higher detail and makes things more visible. This map mod is just nice to have. Keeping up those visual enhancements and the far-off details that we have so far, we have Long Range Bullet Holes by XLSJ. This mod does as you would expect and makes bullet holes visible at a longer distance and hang around for that little bit longer. So if you're firing a minigun into a concrete wall and wondering why you can't see where the bullets are hitting, this is the mod for you. Meanwhile, as you're shooting that minigun into the wall, are you wondering why there isn't a rain of bullets? Well, Rain of Brass, again by XLSJ, has you covered. Shower your enemy in the casings of bullets fired with this mod. Updated to include different shell casings for different bullets, this raises that immersion dial just a little bit more. Alright, we've made the game look 10 times better, now let's make it sound 10 times better. Dynamic Music Overhaul by Excelsior and Crazy Jackal. As the authors ask, are you sick of mole rats and bloatflies triggering epic combat music? Then so are we. This mod overhauls the entire music system in the game. We have ambience, high-level threats and no ambient music, and silence. So, one of the biggest reasons to install this mod is if you're sick of being told you're in combat because the music changed, this is the mod for you. Speaking of annoying sounds, if you're after the level of immersion I'm looking for, then no more cash register sound when XP gained by Liquid Bronze will be a lifesaver. This mod does exactly as it says it does, and you no longer hear that stereotypical ka-ching whenever you gain experience. If you've got a low intellect character who keeps getting random experience now and then, remove Idiot Savant sounds by Lemurs. Gets rid of that god-awful clown sound that plays every time Idiot Savant triggers. I don't know whose idea that was at Bethesda, but they deserve to be trapped in a room with this sound for at least 48 hours. Now, instead of removing these ones, because they are part of an atmospheric game, we have quieter generator sounds by Lemurs and quieter turret idle sounds, again by Lemurs. Both these mods reduce the sound of generators and idling turrets respectively by a percentage of your choice depending on which version you download. 10%, 25%, or 50% of the normal volume. Thank God. Now, on the notion of making certain sounds softer that shouldn't be ringing in our ears, quiet automatron footsteps and locomotion sounds by Right Dead Fred does just that. In his mod, he reduces the footstep and locomotion sounds for assaultrons, protectrons, sentry bots, and robo-trains, all by about 5 decibels to save our ears. If there's one piece of machinery in the game that should make a thumping sound and doesn't, it is the power armor. So, PAMS Power Armor Movement Sounds by Oni Zer does just that. Adds a weightier, stronger sound to the power armor movements in the game to bring in that level of immersion when running through the wilderness in a 10-ton suit of armor. Now, if you remember in the last episode, we changed Nick Valentine's appearance to give him the character he truly deserves. Well, to increase that, we have Nick Valentine Robot Voice by Stupid Lemon Eater. Although most synth voices in the game do sound human because that is the intention, Nick Valentine's a little more run down, so we've added in a little bit of a robotic voice to him to give him the character and uniqueness that this character truly does deserve. Now, to bring back some ambience to our wildlife, particularly with the grassy green mods we've added, we have Radiant Birds. Adds real bird sounds to the game and fixes old ones so you can hear them. Now, if you're sick of being the most important person in the Wasteland, having every single NPC in the game stop whatever they're doing just to speak to you every single time you walk by, then this mod has your back. While similar to a lot of other mods that do the same, You Talk Too Much by AK Celsior does it a little more comprehensively. This mod not only changes the minimum distance an NPC has to be from you to engage you, but also lowers the frequency that they will talk to you. So if you're sick of avoiding your salators, then you need You Talk Too Much. Lastly, in the sound department, we have Reverb and Ambience Overhaul by our good friend MM137. Now, as the author puts it, this makes weapon sounds more realistic for player and NPC shots, improves and balances ambience and reverb to be more realistic and lively, and increases the diversity and dynamics of in-game sounds. It fixes numerous issues, it's lightweight and compatible with all sound replacer mods. And if you've come to this video because of my Fallout 4 playthrough, for sure you would have noticed this mod every time I take a shot. Now these next few mods, if you're a YouTuber and you're sick of having to run around and turn off all the radios before recording, then Commercial Radio by That Boy from 101. Fallout 4 Classical Radio Historic Music Replacement by Sergeant Pectoral is Major. And On the Air Old Time Radio Shows by Malimouche are the mods for you. These mods replace 3 radio stations in-game that include copyrighted material. Those are Freedom Radio, Classical Radio, and Diamond City Radio, with hours of radio comedy, drama, sci-fi, westerns, ads, and songs, all commercially free from the 1900s to 1950s. And don't you worry, mods for stations like Diamond City Radio don't replace the entire station, but just the songs, so we'll still hear the updates from the host, though he does still introduce songs that don't play anymore. And as far as custom radio stations go, you can't look past Gamma Radio by Gamma Radio. As the author explains, it is a comedy radio show set in post-war UK. Join your hosts Dave and Fogg on Good Vibes, a light entertainment show attempting to bring a bit of hope and cheer to the wastelands. Unfortunately, this mod isn't 100% compatible with the lore of Fallout 4, but they have mutants, they have radiation, and they have bombs that dropped. But as the show is set in the UK and several years before the events of Fallout 4, it's pretty easy to suspend your disbelief while listening to Dave and Fogg. Well, this has been episode 2 of our Fallout 4 mods list, looking at visual and audio modifications to the game. I hope you enjoyed exploring these mods with me, and hopefully you found a mod or two that you enjoyed as well. Hope you're having a great day, and guys, take care.